To meet the world's growing needs, the oil industry must enter unknown territories. Seeking oil in places that, politically, ethically and environmentally, were once off limits. Our dependence on oil may become a curse. In this program, we journey to the Caspian Sea to find out if the West can extract oil from the politically unstable countries of Central Asia. What you see when dawn breaks on the Caspian is a forest of oil rigs. It has taken us a long time to get this far. But Azerbaijan's state oil company has reluctantly given us permission to visit an oil rig. This is a journey that will be plagued with problems. Some official has now decided we can't film after all.
They have written permission from the president of the oil company. Yes, I understand. So they cannot film here.
We haven't come this far for nothing, so we continue to shoot when we can. Our helicopter flew us out across the Caspian. This was the first deep-water oil project in the world. Engineering on a heroic scale, it was built by the Soviets, who called it oily rocks. Piers, tens of kilometers long, reach out to the rigs from the central hub. With the Soviets gone, it all now lies crumbling and neglected. The Soviets have left their usual legacy of suspicion and paranoia, but at least we're allowed to film now. In charge of these new Western-style oil rigs is Telman Jafarov.
I started work at Oily Rocks when I was 15. This oil and gas drilling division was set up in 1990, and I came to work here. For the last year and a half, I've been in charge.
How big are the oil reserves?
Well, children will be born. There will be enough for them and future generations.
2 generations?
3.
The Caspian contains some of the largest untapped energy reserves on the planet. Estimates go as high as 200 billion barrels of oil. Today, everyone wants a piece of the Caspian. Russia, which once owned most of it, has built a pipeline from Kazakhstan to the Black Sea coast. China is planning to pump oil to Xinjiang. And now Western companies are building a massive pipeline of their own. We are going to journey along that pipeline, through some of the most geographically challenging and politically dangerous places on Earth, as it makes its way to the Mediterranean Sea. Our journey began on the shores of the Caspian. It's a graveyard of old Soviet oil rigs. The Soviet Union never had the technology to exploit these oil reserves fully. We took the road to Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan. On our way, we passed an endless stream of slow, rusting oil trains, but only a fraction of Azerbaijan's oil reserves can reach the west this way. In a few years' time, 1 million barrels of oil will be flowing down the pipeline every day. That's $1 million an hour. That pipeline was a result of years of political maneuvering and labyrinthine intrigue, and it all happened here in Baku. After the collapse of Soviet power, Azerbaijan's new oil fields were up for grabs. Hundreds of Western companies and entrepreneurs flocked here. History was repeating itself. Baku's last oil boom was more than 100 years ago. In those days, the big players were the Nobels and the Rockefellers. In the 1990s, Dave Churchman was one of those who came to seek his fortune in the remains of the Soviet Empire.
When we first came here, it was sleeting and snowing. It was total chaos. You had men standing around with machine guns. It was kind of like the old Wild West. It was a strange time, but a very exciting time.
Every oil company came here and wanted a piece of the action.
So there was a tremendous amount of hype and a lot of, chaos. There are only so many contracts. There are so many oil fields. 5 or 6 companies would be bidding back then on one contract.
It was here in Baku that we met the politician Panik Huseynov. His party is in opposition now, but back then, as Prime Minister, he was center stage and in the thick of the action as Western oil companies competed frantically for what some would call the deal of the century.
In Soviet times, these companies were viewed as gigantic imperialist sharks. But we were politicians of a new age, and we saw the signing of the oil contracts as a guarantee of our independence. Although we had not intended to have special relations with a single company, priority was given to British Petroleum, and this is a fact.
Russia and Iran were appalled by the prospect of Western companies and their governments gaining influence in their own backyard.
All of a sudden, Russia closed road communications, and Iran refused to buy gasoline from us. We soon realized that large amounts of oil would be of no use without alternative routes of export. An energy corridor, a pipeline, protected by strong countries and international law, was now considered essential for our independence.
Azerbaijan and BP would eventually call it the BTC pipeline, because on its 1,100-mile journey through Azerbaijan, Georgia and Turkey, it will link the cities of Baku, Tbilisi and Ceyhan. On September the 20th, 1994, a consortium including BP, Amoco and Pennzoil signed the deal with the Azerbaijan government. BP would go on to acquire a majority stake in Azerbaijan's oil,